Curiously, many of the most famous rock songs weren't actually created by the artists we think. In fact, several of those big hits we know and love were first performed by other musicians, but unfortunately, they never achieved fame. Today, I'm bringing you 10 famous rock songs you didn't know are covers, and I'm warning you, some of these revelations might break your heart. Let's get started. Number 10. Got My Mind Set on You by George Harrison.
I got my mind set on you.
When George Harrison released Got My Mind Set on You in the late 80s, many believed he had written it himself. With its polished pop-rock style and the unmistakable touch of the ex-Beatle, the song was a resounding success in the music scene of the time.
But it's gonna take money.
However, its origin dates back to 1962, when composer Rudy Clark conceived it and singer James Ray recorded it with a more soul and R&B vibe.
I've got my mind set on, it's gonna take money.
In James Ray's version, you can appreciate a more intimate and simple atmosphere typical of the early 60s. Harrison, on the other hand, added guitars with that 80s shine and a more elaborate production, turning it into a perfect track for the radio of that era.
I got my mind set.
This is a brilliant example of how a composition can travel through time and find new artistic possibilities in each performer. Number 9. Alone by Heart. The power ballad, Alone, marked a turning point in Heart's career. Released in 1987, this song took the band to the top of the charts thanks to Ann Wilson's tremendous voice. What few people know is that it was composed and recorded by the duo I-10 in 1983.
I hear the ticking of the clock.
In its first version, the track had a softer pop rock feel, lacking the emotional explosion that Heart managed to inject into it. Ann Wilson unleashed her vocal power and, together with dramatic arrangements and top-tier production, turned Alone into one of the most memorable romantic anthems of the 80s. The change in atmosphere between the original proposal and Heart's demonstrates how the right interpretation can completely mold the perception of a song. Number 8. Red Red Wine by UB40. Associating Red Red Wine with beaches, Caribbean breezes, and relaxed reggae is very common thanks to UB40. But this famous melody didn't come from Jamaican culture, but from the pen of American Neil Diamond, who composed it in 1967.
Red, red wine.
Diamond's version differs quite a bit from UB40's. It is a pop ballad with folk touches, where the sadness and nostalgia are more palpable, reflecting the loneliness that leads one to drown their sorrows in a glass of wine.
I'd have sworn.
UB40 completely transformed the vibe by fusing it with reggae, giving it a lighter and more festive rhythm.
Stay close to me.
The contrast between both versions shows how the same track can speak to us of heartbreak with melancholy, or invite us to dance and forget our worries. 7. I Wanna Be Your Man by the Rolling Stones. This case is peculiar because both the Rolling Stones and the Beatles recorded and released I Wanna Be Your Man almost at the same time.
I wanna be your lover, baby.
Lennon and McCartney had originally composed it, but they offered the song to the Stones, who published it first in 1963. Shortly after, the Beatles themselves released their version on the album With the Beatles. The question of which is the original arises because it came out first with the Stones, although the songwriters were the Beatles.
I wanna be your man.
Beyond the controversy, the track bore the distinctive stamp of both bands. The Stones version sounds raw and bluesy, while the Beatles has a more polished pop air.
I wanna be your man.
This crossover demonstrates the close relationship between the groups at the start of their careers, when they shared influences and, occasionally, even songs. Number 6. El Condor Pasa by Simon and Garfunkel.
I'd rather be a sparrow than
The world got to know El Condor Pasa on a grand scale when Paul Simon performed it with English lyrics in the 1970s.
like a swan that's
For years, it was believed to be an Andean folk song of unknown authorship. However, the Peruvian composer Daniel Alomía Robles registered it in 1913, inspired by the melodies of the highlands and the majesty of the bird that gives it its name. Simon, convinced it was part of the public domain, included it in his repertoire and adapted it to his folk style. Later, Alomía Robles' son claimed authorship, managing to get the real origin of the work recognized. This story illustrates the risk of confusing traditional songs with registered compositions. It also teaches us about the strength of Andean music and its capacity to make international audiences fall in love. Number 5. I Love Rock and Roll by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. When we hear I Love Rock and Roll, it is practically impossible not to imagine Joan Jett's raspy voice and that rebellious attitude that inspires you to put on a leather jacket and pick up a guitar. However, the first time this song saw the light of day was in 1975, courtesy of the British band The Arrows, whose version didn't get much commercial traction.
You must have been about 17.
It was Joan Jett who discovered the song's potential. After an attempt to record it with members of the Sex Pistols in 1979, she finally released it with the Blackhearts in 1981, achieving global success. Her energetic and empowered performance made I Love Rock and Roll a rock classic, an anthem that keeps playing on the radio and resonating in the heads of new generations of rockers. 4. The Tide is High by Blondie. In 1980, Blondie transformed The Tide is High into a hit that mixed pop, reggae, and the new wave aesthetic of the era. Debbie Harry's unmistakable voice and the New York group's arrangements turned it into one of those catchy songs that get stuck in the collective memory. However, the history of this track goes back to 1967, when the Jamaican band The Paragons recorded it in a rock-steady style. The original version is more paused and full of vocal harmonies typical of Jamaican music. Blondie took this essence and brought it to their turf, creating a perfect bridge between Caribbean rocksteady and the international pop scene of the early 80s. Number 3. Girls Just Want to Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper. Girls Just Want to Have Fun is a true 80s anthem that made Cyndi Lauper famous and became a banner of female empowerment. But curiously, the author of the song was musician Robert Hazard, who composed and recorded it in the late 70s with a male focus. Lauper reimagined the lyrics from a woman's perspective, completely changing the meaning and adding her charismatic pop new wave style. The result was a resounding success, backed by a colorful and carefree music video. What started as a more rocker song became, in Lauper's hands, a universal chant for girls' freedom and fun, breaking stereotypes of the era and resonating with future generations. Number 2. Hey Joe by Jimi Hendrix. Although Hey Joe is almost automatically linked to Jimi Hendrix, its origin is one of the haziest on this list.
Hey Joe,
It is usually attributed to Billy Roberts, who supposedly registered it in the 1960s, although there are theories pointing to roots in oral tradition folk songs.
Hey Joe.
Either way, Hendrix's version, released in 1966, is the one that went down in history. With his unmistakable Stratocaster guitar and a psychedelic style, the musician turned it into a powerful rock tale about passion and violence.
I'm going up to shoot my old lady.
Dozens of artists have covered it, but none come close to the interpretive force of Hendrix, who sealed Hey Joe as one of the pillars of his career in 60s music with his virtuosity and charisma. Before continuing, I invite you to subscribe and activate notifications so you don't miss any of our videos about rock legends. We upload videos every week, so let's continue. Number 1. Twist and Shout by the Beatles. To close our journey, we have Twist and Shout, a piece inseparable from the Beatles' early discography. Its overwhelming energy made it one of the band's most vibrant tracks, and the unbridled performance by John Lennon, who was losing his voice during the recording, made it legendary. However, before the Beatles turned it into an anthem of Beatlemania, there was a lesser-known version from 1961 by the Top Notes, initially titled Shake It Up, Baby.
Shake it up, baby.
Shortly after, the Isley Brothers re-recorded it with arrangements that the Beatles would take as a base for their own 1963 version. That mix of rock and roll and R&B hooked the Liverpool Quartet, who recorded the song at the end of an intense session at Abbey Road.
Twist and shout. Come on, come on, come on.
The rawness of Lennon's voice, combined with the drive of George, Paul, and Ringo, resulted in one of the most remembered moments of the group's first era. As we have seen, many of our favorite songs began their story in other voices, other times, and other styles. But far from diminishing their value, these covers show us the power of music to reinvent itself, transcend generations, and conquer new ears. If you liked this video, you can't miss the next one, the 10 best rock guitar solos. Will your favorite solo be on the list? Click now and I'll see you there, my rocker friend.